All right, this is the second time did this video because I figured that the first video was too long. You don't want to hear me talk that much. And there was outside noise because my neighbor is having a garage sale, yard sale. So there's a lot of stuff going on. So I'm going to make this quick. This is about people paying child support. People can't believe that I'm making this video, but I need to get something off of my chest. And it's really important that I do this just in case there's other people, other fathers in the position that I'm at, not just fathers, but child support payers that are in the position that I didn't get myself put into, the position that I found myself in. My daughter is Australian. I'm American. She was born in Australia. I was out there when she was born. So that was years ago. And she's lived in Australia since. You know, she comes to America all the time. And I don't want to I don't want you to think that like I'm this deadbeat dad because I'm totally not. I pay my child support and I get along with the mother. And I see my daughter. In fact, I've seen her twice already this year. And it's in June. And it's with COVID. And I saw her twice since January. And then I was out there in Australia about a year and a half ago. Well, let me tell you what's going on and why I'm making this video because it's really, really important to me because I'm sure I'm not the only one that's going through stuff like this. Maybe it's because it's messed up. So 10, 11 years ago, I get a court order to pay child support. Now, the court order was from Westchester County in New York because Australia has no jurisdiction here. So I have to pay through the courts of Westchester County. Australia, child support goes to Westchester County. They give me a court order to pay a certain amount. And I've paid that certain amount. I've had no problem paying it. If they asked for more money, I would have paid it. If they asked for less money, I would have paid it. I didn't argue. The reason why is because they ended up starting to take it out of my paycheck because it was easier for me that way to pay every 2 weeks. And for me not to give them, I asked just take it out of my paycheck. So they started taking out my paycheck. It's much easier. I like everything either taken out of my paycheck or my bank. I don't want to have to do stuff. So there were times that I was in between jobs and I ended up getting uh, arrears, some child support back pay, but it never got ridiculous. Never got a ridiculous amount because I would always pay off the arrears. And my passport expired a few years back, and I had to get a new passport. And I knew I had arrears, but I didn't think I had that much. Meaning that I thought that if you had like I think $500 or more or $1,000 or more, that you couldn't get a new passport. Um, my arrears was at like 500, less than $500, but they said that it has to be at zero. So I was like, well, that's fine. I'll just pay what I owe. It took me another month to pay it, and then that's it. So I did it. I paid it. I called New York State because I'm really anxious because I was actually my first trip was going to Australia to see my daughter, and I was actually going to study in Lebanon. I'm going back to school. Initially I went to school for political science at the University of Nebraska, going back to school for international relations in Arabic, and I was chosen to study at a language program in Lebanon. So I was really, really excited. Get my passport. Called New York. They said, "Yep, you are cleared. No arrears. That's it. Passport ready to go." We or they document it and they send it to like either State Department or Homeland Security or something like that to get the passport. So it was perfect. I ended up getting my passport. Saw my daughter. Traveled around the world, and I've actually traveled quite a few times since I got that passport, and that was less than 2 years ago. Um, I was actually, to be honest with you, uh, when I paid off everything, I was actually at a credit, so they owed me money, New York State. I was like, I want it back. If you're not, I mean, I don't know if they were what they were going to do with it. If you're not going to give it to my daughter, then give it back to me. And they said they don't do that. They don't give it back. Well, I was like, well, fine, just make sure it goes to where it needs to go or something. I figured that they would use it just in case, especially because I'm going away, that I'm not going to be, there might be a month that I might miss the child support payments. All that stuff will go towards that. That's fine. But what I'm trying to say is that I was at zero arrears because I did what I was supposed to do. I paid the court order. Well, a couple of months ago, I ended up getting a bill from Westchester County of $12,601.58 out of nowhere. I was like, what the hell is going on? So I called New York State because you really can't talk to the county courts, because I don't know if it's because of COVID or it's just that they don't accept calls. You have to either email them or put a letter in the mail. So I called New York Child Support, told them what's going on. They seem to think, well, it could be a mistake because they have the information. They know that I paid and I had a zero balance. They said if you have documentation to show that you have zero arrears, then you should probably send it to Westchester County. So I did. Actually, I didn't at first. I emailed Westchester County. They gave me the email address. I emailed them. And I told them what was going on. The person emailed me back a couple of days later, and they said that they don't know what the heck is going on because it's different, and they have to pass this to their supervisor. So I was like, all right, pass it to your supervisor. I didn't hear anything back from them for a couple of weeks, so I wrote them back. I was like, hey, what's going on? Did you forget about me? They said, no, we haven't forgotten about you. They're just really busy because of COVID and because they have reviewing a lot of other cases. They'll get back to me. They took about a month to get back to me. And when they got back to me, no explanation. They just said, you have to pay $12,000. So I was really, really upset, really pissed. Didn't know what to do. I didn't want to bother my daughter's mother because it's not her fault. I mean, this is New York's fault. So I told them, sent them the documentation. I sent them all that stuff. They said they don't know. This is what they got from Australia. So I called my daughter's mother, talked to her. She has no idea what's going on. She doesn't know anything. So she gave me the number to Australian child support. So I called Australian child support. So nice, completely different than New York State. I was on hold for a while, but they actually called me back because they knew that I was paying for an international call. So they told me, and this is the reason why I'm actually very, very heated. This is the reason why I'm making this rant. They told me that when New York put that court order in, for whatever reason, whether it be income, things like that, they based child support payments on, I had no idea. Australia had me paying a certain amount. New York State dropped it down. Not much, but they dropped it down to, I think, $80 less. Which, if you know, over 11 years, $80 adds up. So they dropped it to $80 less. If they would have paid, if I would have asked $80 more, I would have paid $80. I didn't really care. I just did exactly what they asked for. I paid what they wanted. What the court order said. That's it. Didn't fight it. Didn't argue. Didn't do anything. So they dropped it down. The problem is, as Australia said, is Westchester County in New York forgot, I don't know if forgot, but they did not update that with Australia. They didn't communicate to Australia that they were dropping it to this for whatever reason. So Australia thinks I'm paying this. Westchester has me paying this. The court order, which is more important, they had me paying this. And so for years, I was following the court order. So now I get stuck with this $12,000 bill, $12,601 bill, 58 cents. And I asked Australia, is there anything I can do? And they were, because I told them that I could get my passport revoked, and people go to jail in this country when they owe over $10,000. They said they made it seem like, well, I didn't do anything wrong, so they don't think that I should have my passport revoked. And I told them, well, you don't know New York State, especially because of all this COVID stuff. They probably need money. So I was like, I'm gonna go back to Westchester, tell them exactly what you said. They made it seem that everything would be fixed. All I have to do is go back to my income over the past every year for like 12 years they want it, and everything would be fine. I'm like, well, that's not that easy, but I'm gonna call New York. I told New York exactly what happened. They were like, no, it can't be. It had to be Australia that set that number. But it wasn't Australia. They did set a number, but Westchester changed it because that's what I have to listen to, and that's they changed it, and they didn't update Australia. Either way, this is why I'm pissed. I might get my passport revoked. Now I put an appeal in, but they're already sending me stuff now like I had no appeal at all. I actually, when this is over, I think my daughter has a good law. My daughter, mother, they have a good lawsuit because they can really like blame Westchester. If they were supposed to be getting $80 more a month, and they never did because of Westchester, I would sue Westchester. Either way, and I told New York and I told Westchester, I told New York and I told Australia, excuse me, that I don't mind paying this $12,000 and $601, excuse me. I don't mind paying, but I don't want to get penalized for not paying right away. Um, because I followed all the rules. I did not know. I listened to the courts. I told that to Australia. Australia child support says you shouldn't have to pay if you don't have to. Because I said I'll pay, but they were like no. Like they said, if it's Westchester's fault, then you don't need to pay. We just need documentation. So I hope Westchester, I hope they do what they need to do to send over that documentation. But it seems like they don't care, and it seems like they don't want to help. So I don't know how many other fathers or mothers are in the same position where it's international. So it's like the communication needs to happen, but something needs to change. And I hope I get this video passed out. I hope 10,000 people watch this because I want to put pressure on Westchester County to do the right thing. Like I said, I have no problem paying, but now I can't even see my daughter. And the funny thing is, when I told Westchester exactly what happened, and I don't want to get my passport revoked, they were like, well, why do you need a passport? My daughter is in Australia. That's why I need a passport. Anyway, so please help, and if any lawyers are nice enough out there to want to talk to me about this situation, um, and want to help me, I'll take all that help too. So thank you very much for listening to my rant. I got a little heated. Sorry, I got to take it down a level or two, but I appreciate it. So maybe I'll make some more videos. I kind of like this.